Hi everyone, this is Greg with Spotted Tongue Woodworking, and this is my slab. We picked this elm slab up from Alderfer Lumber Company in Mount Pleasant Mills. This slab will become the new desktop for Nina's home office that we are currently working on as she transitions to a new job. We will be stabilizing all the cracks and voids in the slab with some System 3 mirror cast epoxy, highly recommended to me by the folks at my local Woodcraft store. In order to ensure that we have a good pour for this large void in the middle, I am sealing the bottom with red tape. I believe it's just red packing tape. I'm not entirely sure. This was in the epoxy section at the Woodcraft store, so I grabbed it because I thought it might be special. I'm not entirely sure now that I've used it. Anyway, I'm sealing up all the cracks, voids, knots, hairline fissures, fractures, just making sure that nothing leaks out the bottom when I pour in through the top. After this, I did another layer of tape, spread it out a little bit wider. After sealing the bottom of the slab, I am now cleaning out the large void, starting with a wire brush and my drill, vacuuming out all the loose debris that I kicked up and took out with the wire brush. And after vacuuming, I took my air compressor and I blew out the crack, blew out the void, and actually vacuumed again after this. Like I said before, I am using System 3 mirror cast epoxy. This was highly recommended to me again by my local Woodcraft store, mixing Part A. It's a Part A and Part B with a 2-to-1 mixture ratio. I've never worked with epoxy before, so I'm a little nervous with this step. After pouring Part A and Part B, you have to mix it thoroughly. As you mix epoxy, what I learned and what I saw is when you first pour it, there are air bubbles. The more you mix, the more air bubbles you get out, and the clearer the epoxy will become. Now that my epoxy is thoroughly mixed, I'll be taking a chip brush and sealing the inside of this large void in order to prevent bleeding and to ensure that all the loose particles that I was not able to wire brush, vacuum, or air blast out will no longer be free floating and will not be floating in the epoxy after I pour it. I will now let this part sit for a day or two, let it dry, let it cure before I pour my final pour. This section of the slab is just a tad over 8 feet long. The original slab was over 10 foot, maybe close to 11 or 12, and we cut 3 or 4 feet off the end at the yard in order to make it fit. This will be used for the mitered edge of the desktop, as well as the other side of the bookcase that I will be building. I had a little bit of epoxy left over, so I decided to mix up just a little bit of the pigment in the epoxy to see what it looked like and to start filling the small cracks, the small knots, and everything that does not need a seal coat. So mixing in this pigment, the more pigment you add to the epoxy mix, the more opaque the color will be. The less pigment, the more transparent it'll be. This original mixture was a little more transparent than I wanted it to be, so after I mixed this up, I added just a little bit more pigment to get a more opaque look to it, because we were not looking for a see-through color. So there are several of these hairline cracks throughout the length of the slab, so I just poured the extra epoxy mixture I had up on them. I poured it on there, and as it soaked into the crack, I just gradually added just a little bit more and more and more and more. So here it is, the end of the night. The large void is sealed. A lot of the pinholes, hairline cracks, and small knots have been filled, and I will be pouring sometime soon. Thanks for watching. Subscribe, like, or comment below, and let me know how I'm doing.